So, Ukrainian advisor to the president there has said something based. He said, "We must realize that people don't want Netflix and LGBT marches." This is in response to Afghanistan, which is a hell of a statement. So he's writing here that Rory's been writing. So this is one of Rory's dispatches. A senior advisor to the chief of staff to the Ukrainian president. I'm gonna butcher this. Vladimir Zelensky.
That was surprisingly good, actually.
Has lambasted the US-led imposition of Western liberal ideologies onto countries including Afghanistan and described them as totalitarian. This imposition, which depends how you describe Western liberal ideologies, doesn't it? Because is socialism a Western liberal ideology? No.
Definitely not, no.
German ideology. So this bastardized version of the thing where you're doing socialism not on the lines of race or class or sex, but instead doing them on all at once, in which you do it on race, class, gender, sex, and so forth lines, that wokeism is. Technically, you could describe that as a Western ideology. I'll give them that. Is it liberal? Hell no, but it does come from the United States' universities. Pointing to the West's defeat against the Taliban in Afghanistan, Alexei Azdrovich said the world was not interested in, quote, experiments designed to unify everyone under a single ideal concept. As it turned out, the world is ill-adapt to idealistic experiments of unifying everyone under a single idea concept. First, the USSR was convinced of this, and now the US is. I mean, that's pretty funny. I mean, he's calling out the socialist aspect to it there, surely. Where it's like, yeah, the USSR tried to unify us all along a socialist brotherhood and unity, or whatever the hell the phrases of the different constituent republics were. But yeah, now the US is obsessed with this crap. So he says here, at the head of the collectivist West, the US being at the head of the collectivist West. I like that phrase.
I think a Ukrainian as well, comparing the United States to the USSR. Of course, the Ukrainians suffered pretty severely under the USSR, particularly in the 1930s when there were man-made famines to punish them for being disobedient to the regime. Then that is a very grave condemnation of the United States' behaviour, right?
I also love how the foreigners can see through wokeism clear as day, particularly Eastern European foreigners. So, I mean, I remember we did a segment on foreign countries that were just banning wokeism as an ideology. They're just like, no, none of this. Just can't be dealing with that. But he decided to point out that the collectivist West is to blame for this. I do like that phrase. It distinguishes the individualist West from the collectivist West. I think that's probably useful because the problem, I would love to say that Western ideology is all individualist and liberal and all the rest of it. We can't say that anymore. Thanks to the United States' leftists who have made that ideology the de facto civic religion of the West. I mean, you can see it within the entire Anglosphere, Canada, the UK and whatnot. And yeah, they are then going abroad and exporting that nonsense onto foreigners, which, yeah, going to make everything worse, as it has at home. But God hopes that the rightists of the United States can get rid of it. So he continues in here saying that the collectivist West, being the US, that's the one fault for this. How soon and at what cost will the West realize its systemic misconceptions on this subject? I hope soon, but apparently never, because no matter how many failures there are, the wokeists just decide that shows the level of intolerance against our ideas. Therefore, we must redouble our efforts. I mean, we spoke about this in the book club, The Long Marks of the Institutions. There is no failure for these people.
Well, yeah, that you can't refute what they assert because they take either kind of possibility as further evidence. If their policy fails, as you said, it's evidence that there's further racism, and if it succeeds, even if the reason is inconsequential to their actual motivations, then they'll claim it as a great victory.
Diversity is our strength.
Exactly, yeah.
When our ideology fails, well, we just didn't have enough diversity. That's the thing. We need more diversity ideology involved. So he writes at the end here, Astorovich proceeded to cite the Western promotion of woke promulgators, such as Netflix and LGBT marchers, before accusing Western leftists of attacking everyone who questioned the destructive doctrines of leftists. I love that he's like, yeah, well, what's the version of leftism you're thinking of? He's like, yeah, Netflix, and we all know what he means. Like instantly, we all know Netflix is a great example of a wokist company that tries to push it on people through culture. In the specifics here, of course, through TV and movies that they make. I mean, the meme of just like, here's the version of the story, here's the original TV version, and here's the Netflix representation where suddenly half the characters are black for no reason or gay.
Yep, I remember watching the Witcher series on Netflix, and then there's some kind of race of elves or something that, of course, is written by a Polish author, so it's all based on European folklore. And then they're just like, yeah, we're going to make these elves black. Just We've got to hit those quotas. Oh, by the way,
I haven't seen that.
Medieval Knight, he's going to be black.
Oh god, do you remember, what was it, Kingdom Come Deliverance? Do you remember that game?
Oh, it's great, yeah.
And the head director or whatever he was, the guy who was making it, he got loads of people, leftists, tagging him on the leftist space that is twitter.com, being like, well, why are there no black people in the Czech Republic? And he's like, because it's medieval Czech Republic. Like, what did you think the demographics were at this time? And he held no bars. He was just like, go to hell. Like, this isn't the United States in the 1700s or something.
The historical accuracy is what makes that game so good as well, because it's very rare that we actually are given media which is betraying the history as it happened, rather than just like an insultingly dumbed down version where it's just like, here you go, idiots.
I mean, the black female Nazis from Battlefield come to mind. I think a friend of mine told me, I think it's Battlefield 1, if you play as the sniper, you're always black on the German team. So I just had this idea in my head, it's just everyone picks the sniper. Just the entire field is just black Germans. Anyway.
It's a little known fact that actually the German army was
Tariq Nasheed over here. His was black. Oh god, they all had melon. So Malcolm comments underneath here, based Ukraine is based, which, yeah, true, by the looks of it. Don't know much about this guy, the president, or the Ukrainian politics, so don't quote me on saying that he's fantastic. But his assessment of what's wrong with the West certainly seems to be true. So if we go to the next link here, which is Trudeau, as a man who is desperate to prove Ukraine right, I suppose. So let's play this first clip.
It is exactly the example of the kinds of things you need to do to counter the she-cession and turn it into a she-covery. Fact is, the Conservatives don't talk about that in their lengthy platform.
Oh, big surprise. Big surprise, Mr. Trudeau. The Conservatives aren't talking about the she-covery on the she-cession. Jesus Christ. I mean, these people are cringe beyond belief, but yeah. Ukraine's obviously not wrong. When you look at the look at the West and its left-wing leaders, and they are awful in this regards. So, I mean, also what happened to degenderizing the language? Trying to use non-gendered language. All of a sudden, we need to insert more of it.
Someone didn't tell Trudeau about that. He's probably going to be a bigot soon enough.
Well, no, because it obviously fits in with diversity ideology, because women are a diverse citizen. They're a diverse category. Even if 100% of the people in the room are women, that room is diverse.
And of course, they are a majority in pretty much all Western societies as well.
But, I mean, the point here obviously being that most Westerners don't support social justice or its ideology, and because it's in direct opposition to what the Western liberal principle of individual justice, not social justice. So the thing is, even in the West, this is a joke. I mean, everyone laughs at this stuff, except leftists, let's say, but they are in the vast minority in every poll that's done. And yet, you have to wonder, why the hell would anyone else in a foreign country buy into this crap, if even we don't buy into it?
I know, well, they've probably seen the countries that have received lots of mass migration. It's probably going to discourage them even further with that sort of thing. Which they're like, well, if this is the kind of destruction of their culture that they're going to receive as a result of receiving lots of people from around the world, well, we're not going to take part in that. And we see that in Eastern Europe, right? We're just like, yeah, we are not going to take any of these migrants, particularly when it comes to Afghanistan. I've seen Poland just like, yeah,
get lost.
Zero.
But also you've seen the French actually engaging in that now, because they've learned the lesson. But I mean, if you just talk to the Eastern Europeans, the kind of memes they share about the West, I mean, you can guess what they are. It's the same memes we share about the West, which is like, for God's sake, sort yourselves out. Which is also kind of embarrassing, especially with very Eastern regions. I mean, like, there's guys in Russia I've met who are liberals, and they're just endlessly, when we met them, shaking us and being like, why is the West, making us look bad? We're trying to make the liberal case for liberalism in Russia. And every time we do, you just have like the rightists, the Putinists in Russia just being like, yeah, but what about the West? And they just bring up all the memes, and they're just like, yeah, not sure I want that for Russia. Not that interested. But,
so what you're saying is that this kind of wokeism is actually the reason that Putin's still in power. And if they really wanted to remove him, they had to change their ways.
It does play a role. From the people we spoke to on the ground, it does actually play a role in Putin's ascendancy, which is be able to point to the West and say, degenerate.
I was only joking, but I don't doubt that it plays some role, how bad the West looks in the East's eyes.